You know how to read tabs. You can play a bunch of songs. You know all the basic chords. You can play bar chords. You know the pentatonic scale. But how do you actually get better at guitar? Because it feels like there's something missing. Today I'm going to show you just 5 minutes how to start understanding what you're playing so that you can actually get better and have somewhere to go. Watch this. So if you'd like to be able to do something like that, just play, because that was improv, right? I didn't practice that. Let me show you what I'm doing here. This is just a little bit of usage of the G major scale. Not the major scale, right? I know we get a little scared of these things, but these basics, we don't need to overcomplicate stuff. You just need to know the basics to be able to play all over this guitar, right? Because I could have done that. There, right? There's all over this guitar you can find the G major scale, but you just need to start with one spot. This is just one out of the 3 things that I teach in my 3 things to unlock the fretboard guide. It's completely free, so download the links in the description, but I'm going to show you one of them right now. Now, why do we need to know the major scale? Well, this is the concept that really ties everything together. This is the moment the fretboard starts to make sense. You already know how to play a G chord, right? Because that song that you were hearing was in the key of G. It was G, C, A minor, and D. But you don't know how to play over that. You don't know how to improvise. You don't know how to be confident playing wherever you want besides those chords. And I'm going to show you how I got there, okay? Because I was in your shoes once. Every basic major chord is made up of just 3 specific notes, okay? We've got, in this case, the G chord. We've got the G, the B, the D, another G, another D, and another G. So there's only 3 notes in those 6 strings. There's G, B, D, G, D, and G. Okay, so they just repeat there. Now, how does the major scale come into this? Well, the notes that make up the major chord, the G major chord, are G, B, and D. And if you play the notes G, B, and D all at the same time, you get a G chord. But what if you play them separately? Okay, because a chord isn't a separate thing from the scale. The chord actually lives inside the scale. But why does this matter? When it comes to improvising, you can't just can't play any notes you want. You've got to play one of those 7 notes that are in that key of G. So you've got to know what the 7 notes are in the key of G. All right, now, even though I'm playing a G chord, there's other notes I can play, at least in passing, that will work over this chord. In this case, I'm playing the G major scale. We've got G, A, right, that's not in the G chord, but it works because it's in the key of G. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. And then it repeats. A, up an octave. A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. Okay? Oh. Okay, now if we play in the key of G, we can pretty much use any of those notes and it will sound at least halfway decent. But what I'm doing here is I'm understanding that each one of those chords that are in that progression that you just heard, G, C, A minor, and D, are a different combination of those 7 major scale, G major scale notes. Okay, so a G chord is G, B, and D. A C chord, I know, is C, E, and G. You'll notice there's a little carryover there. It's got a G in it, but it's also got the C and the E, which are also in the G major scale. The A minor chord is A, C, and E. Again, a little crossover with the C chord. And the D chord is D, F sharp, and A. All 4 of those chords have only notes that are in the G major scale. That's why they work so well in the key of G major. There's no A sharps in there, there's no E flats, right? There's no C sharps, there's just G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G in those 4 chords. Now how do I make it sound really good? Because I could just hit play on this and it could sound like this, right? I could just go. That doesn't sound very good, right? I'm just kind of playing whatever notes I want, we can use this scale. And we can make sure that every time the chord changes to our new chord, we land on a note that's in that chord. And you can just look at your neck here and decide which notes you want that to be. So for the G, we know that when we play, we can land on any of these notes or one of these two open strings whenever we hit the G chord. Right? So at the start of the song, I started here on the G, right? And then I knew it was gonna land on C. So right when it landed on C, I think I played something like, now how do I know that's in a C chord? Well, because a C chord is shaped there and it uses that note, right? This is a very basic, fundamental way to understand this. But if you land on that C chord right there and you play that E, that note's an E, at the same time, it's gonna sound pretty good. In between, while the chord's moving, you can kind of play any notes you want. But as long as the next chord comes and you land on a note in that chord, it's going to sound a little better than just messing around or randomly hitting whatever notes in the scale you want. So when we hit the A minor next, I make sure to land on either this note, or I can land on it even though it's technically not one of the notes I include here. That's because this note is the same as this one. So we play, that's the same as that. So in A minor, I could land, while I'm kind of riffing, you know, kind of just playing around within that scale, I need to land on a note in that chord at the same time that I hit that chord. And then same for the D. When the D chord comes, because you can hear it coming, make sure that you land on one of these, either open D, this note, or this note while you're playing that scale. Right, now I'm gonna play it again, and I want you to notice that every time the new chord hits, you can see that I'm landing at the same moment on one of the notes in directly inside these chords, G, C, A minor, or D. And I'll even call it out as we go if I can. Let's see. That's a C chord, I'm playing the E. There's an A minor, I'm playing the A. I'm playing the D now. There's a G. Right, a C chord has a G in it. A minor has that. Right? G. There's a C. F sharp. Alright? Now again, it's not always, doesn't have to always be that simple that you always make sure to land on a chord tone right when the chord hits. But this is a great way to start training your ear to not just noodle around when you're playing in the key of G, because a lot of us know the major scale or the pentatonic scale, but we don't know how to make it sound good and we feel lost. But if we make sure that we're kind of landing on chord tones, it trains our ear to be more intentional about what we're playing. And you also don't have to play so busy, right? I'm kind of playing a lot of notes just for the sake of it, but you could play simple, right? You could do something like this. And you can make the case that that sounds actually even better than what I played before because it's more melodic and less showy. I think that's probably true. It's a little better. Now, from there, it's like, okay, cool. I know the G, key of G, this is major scale, but how do I actually feel like I'm better, can get better at the guitar? Well, you can play that G major scale in so many places on the neck, right? And you can play it there. You can play it here, right? You can play it here. You can play it here. I kind of missed a note there, but you see, once you know where the major scale is everywhere, you're doing the exact same thing I did down here when I was landing on chord tones, but you're starting to do it here. Let's try it real quick just to show you. I know that's a G and we're in the key of C. That's a G, that makes an A minor 7. F sharp, that's in the key, that's an F. right? That's an A minor. Okay, now that's all just major, that's all just major scale. So I would start with making sure you know the major scale of maybe the key of G all over this neck, okay? And then start applying that to songs and making sure you're listening and landing on the chord tones of the chords that you're in. Of course, you need to know the tones of the chords. So you need to know some music theory. G chord is G, B, D. C chord is C, E, G. After a while, you're not really thinking, like I'm not really thinking, oh, this is a G and that's a C chord, right? I'm just knowing, my ears are knowing that that's inside the chord and that that's inside the D chord. But at first, you do kind of got to overthink about it a little bit to make sure that you're understanding what you're doing. Now, like I said earlier, that was actually part 3 of this 3 things that unlock the fretboard guide that I've made. So if you want that for free, click the link in the description and I'll give it to you. And it should be helpful for getting you started and more understanding what you're playing. Some crucial tips in there, so go grab that. I hope you enjoyed this video and had fun learning about the major scale and the chord tones that are inside it. Some music theory, but so much fun, I think. I look forward to seeing you on my next video. I hope to see you there.